The explosive growth of data centers on the minds of residents and lawmakers in the St. Louis region. Recently, two massive proposed developments were met by protests.
Tonight, 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski takes us inside a data center and investigates what it takes to run one and why they're necessary. Laura?
Mike and Kelly, I ran into several roadblocks when trying to do this story. Nearly every data center company I called either didn't respond or refused to give us a tour, saying that's something they just don't do. To which I responded, well, if you won't let me see it, how do you expect a community to trust you? But TierPoint agreed, so let me take you inside the industry shrouded in secrecy. In this digital age, data has become an extremely valuable resource. Every email sent, video streamed, or online purchase made is powered by data centers. But what do they do there? How does it work? Do data centers affect our resources? The questions are endless, so I went to get answers. TierPoint in Maryland Heights welcomed us in for a tour. CEO Jerry Kent explains the role of a data center.
A data center provides critical back office infrastructure, the websites, the social media interaction, that type of thing. And we also provide essential government services. We have E911 in some of our data centers. We provide public safety services for backbone for police, fire, and in some places we provide disaster recovery for a lot of state and local agencies.
Inside the reinforced walls of their data center, they have lots of security measures to protect the data and servers for 26 clients that range from businesses to governmental agencies, including eye recognition, specialized codes, security guards, and multiple doors. And once you get through all of that, you'll find yourself in the data hall that houses all of the data storage devices, servers, and computers. And that sound you just heard is all of those servers working at once and all of the cooling systems working to keep them from overheating. But outside, you can't hear anything but cars driving by on the highway.
We put up walls and or trees and other things to make sure that any sound that does come out doesn't impact surrounding neighborhoods.
At this location, they used air-based cooling from computer room air conditioners pumped up through raised floors to cool down the equipment. In other locations, they use liquid-based cooling. Kent says they've chosen a more environmentally friendly option.
We use a closed-loop system. In other words, there's pipes that never have open air touch them, so there's no evaporation. So after the initial use of water, we recirculate it. There's no additional water going back into the environment and no additional water that we need to cool our equipment.
But not all data centers are the same. Researchers estimate in 2023, data centers in the U.S. used 17.5 billion gallons of water. All of this work requires a lot of energy. Here's a room where it happens for TierPoint. In the same year, the Department of Energy says data centers consume more than 4% of the country's electricity, and it's going to keep going up.
Most data centers in the U.S. are not these mega, huge facilities consuming a lot of power. They're more like us, where we have 2.5, 3 megawatts per data center.
One big question is, who pays for the power upgrades if needed? Kent used their new Philadelphia data center as an example. So then you guys are paying for basically them to build the substation. And is that any at all in turn going to go back to the customer?
We are working with the utility. We are paying for all the essential work and equipment for that substation to get us that 100 megawatts. That will not go to a ratepayer-based user of utility service.
When the power goes out, they have large diesel-fueled generators to keep everything running.
We do store them in tanks underground, but they have multiple layers of protection. I will tell you that we have more layers of protection than would you have in a neighborhood gas station.
According to datacentermap.com, we have 18 different data centers in our area. 13 of them are in St. Louis and have a much smaller footprint, limited to one floor or a part of a building. TierPoint's been around for about 20 years and was even working in AI years ago.
There's all different shapes, sizes, and power consumption. I know people are concerned about these mega gigawatt data centers, but for TierPoint, we have 40 data centers in 20 U.S. markets.
Kent says they do their best to help the local economy, be a good neighbor, and haven't collected any public subsidies on their data centers in St. Louis, including a brand new one downtown.
When we consume power from them, they have to pay tax on that. We collect money from our customers to provide the service. We pay state and local and federal taxes also. And that money, stays locally. Locust Street itself, we're committed over $100 million investment to downtown St. Louis.
And I know there are still a lot of concerns about data centers, but I hope this helped you get a better understanding of how they work. The St. Louis Board of Aldermen is still in the process of putting in permanent regulations for new data centers being built in the city and are closely monitoring data center proposals, including the one next to the Armory. I'll keep following this issue.
I know you will, Laura. Thanks.